Hello and welcome to the Commission Files. I'm Will Leach.
Hello, it's Kerry Gregg here. We're back at Commission Christian Radio just outside Belfast.
Now, is everybody ready?
Definitely.
OK, here we go. Take it away, everybody.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare Him room. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. And heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills and plains repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joyful.
Well, that's the joyous, exuberant, energetic sound of Belfast Community Gospel Choir from the Christmas album Joy to the World. It's December. We're allowed to play it and enjoy it.
And everybody's bouncing about in the studio here. And that's because we're taking you on a musical journey. And what better way to do it than under the direction of Marie Lacey, Director of Belfast Community Gospel Choir. Marie, it's such a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you for coming in to see us at the Commission Files.
Well, it's an absolute delight, and I am bouncing about already. It's just great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Great to have you with us, Marie. Folks, we're going to have some fun in the next wee while. We absolutely promise you.
Yes, well, BCGC, which is what the choir is affectionately known, is very highly regarded in Northern Ireland. Tell us about the choir, Marie.
Oh my goodness. How long do we have on this podcast?
It was long enough.
Well, the choir is, in a nutshell, a vision that has become a reality. I have always been passionate about choirs. From a little girl, I just loved choirs, but a particular genre of choir, and that's the gospel choir, because it's just so full of life and joy and passion and, as you say, energy. And I never believed that I would have a choir like that of my own, that I get to direct a choir like that. And over the years, I had formed choirs for different projects such as Easter, Christmas, things like that. But the BBC ran a show in 2008 called Last Choir Standing. And it was a competition, and most of the choirs on it were gospel choirs. And I just was blown away by this. And I felt, Lord, if I'm ever going to have the choir that I dream of having, surely it's now. Surely something can come about. And I really felt God gave me the go-ahead. I felt that He had trained me for many years, but He was saying, go for it, Marie. And so I advertised for members because it was really important to me that it was a community choir. Mm-hmm. All my work had been within the walls of the church. All my choirs had been faith-based choirs. But I wanted to take this life-giving gospel music into the community. And I wanted my members to be drawn from the community. But the difference is that they had to audition. So I knew this choir would only really reach the heights that I had dreamt of if they were auditioned singers. And so we started in 2009 with 67, I think, members. And at one point we'd gone up to almost 150, but I've pulled it back a little bit, and we now have about 125. And they are drawn from all walks of society, and we have a lot of people in the choir with a very strong faith, and we have people in the choir who are not aligned to any faith. But that doesn't matter. They all come into the choir and they commit to singing songs that are telling the gospel story. And if they're happy to do that, I'm happy to have them in the choir. So I couldn't have ever believed the heights of success that the choir would achieve. And I don't know why I'm doubtful, because it's such a God thing. From the beginning, it was such a God vision and passion. And so he has opened the doors into the marketplace, into schools, into churches, into media. And it's mind-boggling, actually.
It's been amazing. You've been on an amazing journey with the choir. You mentioned there, just sort of touched on it, that it was very much you felt God was saying to you to really start this. How did you know that?
Well, I had been very involved in my home church as a worship leader, and in that context I had also formed choirs for special events. But as I would say, maybe a couple of years before I formed the choir, I just felt, I don't want to do this anymore. And it was a bit of an oxymoron, because I am a worshipper. So why do I not want to lead worship? But I just didn't want to do that anymore. And I really felt in my spirit there was a new adventure for me.
I remember as a teenager you coming to our coffee bar and singing.
Why don't we
and
just tell them our age
Sorry.
then? Come on.
I was a very old teenager.
Folks, I'm 68 and proud of it. That season was coming to an end for me. But God had gifted me musically. I'm a passionate worshipper, so what am I going to do? Why am I not wanting to lead worship anymore? So I took some time out, really, on sabbatical. I laid down my leadership of worship in the church and stepped back from that, and I actually spent a whole year in sabbatical. And the way I did that, I took 4 hours a day. I actually said to my husband, Linus, I'm going to treat this like a part-time job, this sabbatical. And I'm going to do 4 hours a day. I'm going to pray for an hour. I'm going to meditate for an hour. I'm going to worship for an hour. I'm going to read the word for an hour. And that's going to be my 4-hour part-time job with God. And at the end of this, I know he's going to give me a vision. He's going to give me a dream and a pathway to what I should be doing. And that's exactly what he did. And that was the choir. And it's just been amazing to see how it did all come about. I mean, I just felt so clear in my spirit that he was drawing me to form this choir. And some people were less than complimentary at the start, especially within the church. Like, well, how can you have a gospel choir that's got non-Christians in it?
Yes, of course.
And I went, well, how much more important is it to have non-Christians singing the gospel? I mean, it's fantastic to have non-Christians singing about Jesus, his life, his work, his message. Come on, So I realised people that were talking to me like that were talking from a religious spirit, a legalistic sort of spirit, and not seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah. You used the word trained a little moment ago, about being trained to lead worship. You came from a musical home and you came from a faith home, didn't you?
I did. And you know what? I am so thankful to God for that foundation, because a lot of people don't have that. But I had that wonderful foundation of godly parents who taught me about relationship with Jesus. My mother was a singer. She was a gospel singer, and so there was always music in the house.
Lovely.
And I grew up, with, I always called it the coffin under the window. It was the radiogram. Do you remember that piece of furniture that
Yes.
every home had? And in the radiogram, if you opened the pull-down cupboard, there was George Beverly Shea, Jim Reeves, Pat Boone, all those great singers from Gordon McRae, from that era, and they were all gospel. And so that was the music that was always played in the home. And so I got that training both spiritually but also musically. My mum was not the kind of singer who cared mostly about technique. She was a heart singer. So for her to get up and sing a song, she had to convey what that song was saying. And I've carried that into the choir. I talk to the choir about each song we learn is like it's like a little play with a start and a middle and an end. What is this song singing? If this song is singing like we do a psalm, Psalm 3, I think it is, many are they increased that trouble me, many are they that rise up against me. Don't sing that with a great big smile on your face, because you're singing about the oppression of people coming against you. If you're singing, your love is lifting me higher, don't sing that with a frown. Those are happy words. This is a word of these are words of celebration. So I learned that at a very young age, that whatever you're singing, convey it both through your voice, through your body and your expressions. And that way you will hold an audience in the palm of your hand.
Talking about holding the audience in the palm of your hand, if you had to choose a song that sums up what the choir means to you, what would that song be?
We're going 15 years now. And there have been some corkers in those 15 years that I am like passionate about. But I guess there's a song and we call it our choir anthem. And every time new members come into the choir, we sing it for our new members, and it's total praise. It's by a guy called Richard Smallwood, and I think it's just one of the most beautiful worship songs ever written. I remember when I first began to teach it to the choir, no one liked it because it was so hard. Oh, this is awful. This is awful. They wanted all the bouncy, ain't no stopping us now. We're on the move. But here was this big ballad, and I stuck with it and I stuck with it, and it's now become the choir anthem.
That's Total Praise by Belfast Community Gospel Choir, directed by our guest Marie Lacey. What does it awaken in you just hearing it there, Marie? What does it awaken?
From the moment the choir got that to the present day, I still get goosebumps when they sing it. I just think it's spine tingling. There's that anthem of amens at the end just build up, and it's like, as a worshipper, there are moments when I don't have words anymore, when I feel the presence of God and I don't know what to say anymore, or I just have to be in that moment with the Lord. And it's like that when when we're doing Total Praise, it gets to the end and I think, I can't speak for a moment. We need to just stand and soak in this amazing presence, because the Bible teaches us that when we're worshipping, God comes and dwells in that. So he's present when we're singing that by his Spirit. And so you just got to give him reverence in moments like that.
I want to ask you, and it's a strange question really, but it's about a day pre-choir when the Northern Ireland office came knocking on your door and said, we want you to do something for us for the new century. And we were chatting earlier about how can it be a new century? It's nearly 25 years into a new century.
You said about the turn of the century.
Right.
I'm always thinking that must have been 1901.
The turn of the century, the NIO wanted you to do a job for them. What did they ask you to do?
It was an amazing story. Have we time for this story? Because
yes.
it's so amazing. The government at the time, Tony Blair was the Prime Minister, and he was getting a lot of flack from the church because so much money was being invested into the millennium. They'd built the Dome in London and there was all kinds of things going on. But church leaders were saying, hold on a minute. This is our celebration. Mm-hmm. This is 2,000 years since the birth of Christendom, right? And so Tony Blair commissioned 4 national services of worship: Edinburgh, London, Belfast and Cardiff. And of course, London, Edinburgh and Cardiff, they were swimmingly, they had it all planned, they had their whole programme put together. But this is Northern Ireland. And our church leaders were like, well, is it going to be in a Catholic cathedral? Is it going to be in St Anne's Cathedral? Where's it going to be? And the poor guy who was the chairman of this board that had been set up just was like bewildered that nobody could make a decision. And Mo Mowlam, who was Secretary of State, she's getting it from London. Mm-hmm. What's going on with that service over there? But then I got the call. And the call was, would you direct this for us? Would you come on board? I formed a choir. We got the Northern Ireland Youth Orchestra and all the dignitaries came. We got the 4 church leaders involved. But I thought we need lay people to do the Bible readings and young people. So Paul Clark came in as like the MC of the service.
I thought you said young people. And I know him, so I can say that.
But we're going back 24 years. And he was quite fresh looking then.
He's still very fresh looking.
Well, I was fresh looking then as well.
You're very
And we got young people from, again, across the community to do the Bible readings. And the whole thing was an amazing success. And it was broadcast live by the BBC.
600 in a choir. How do you begin to control a choir of 600 people? It must be like herding cats.
I'm not stupid, Will. I handed that over to somebody else.
Marie, you are definitely a forerunner.
I formed it, but then the conductor of the orchestra took on the choir as well. And I thought, yes, this is great. We had dancers as well. Can you imagine bringing in dancers? We had Irish dance, and the whole thing was just a big, massive celebration of the new millennium and almost like a new expression of what church can be. Mm-hmm. Church should be a place that you want to go to, that you want to be in that atmosphere for whatever length of time. And that's what we achieved. It was amazing.
It was amazing. And when you think back now, I know I joked there you were the forerunner, but really you were forward thinking. And when you look at the types of services that are organised now, well done you.
Yeah, well,
So God was in it.
God was in it.
Yes.
You just got to lift the baton when it's handed to you. And I mean, at that moment, I did not feel at all qualified to take on such a huge commission as such. But when you know it's a God thing, you don't need to worry.
I want to ask you about a particular song, Marie, and it's actually very special to me. And I think it's probably very special to a lot of other people. And the song is God's on Your Side. I know I've sung it with tears in my eyes, but I'm sure others have too.
Well, whenever we're doing a concert and you look out and there's 400 or 500 people in the average concert, and we're all about joy and, celebration. But I know in that audience that there are people who are not in that frame of mind, because life can be very, very difficult for people. And I know there have been times, the verse goes, sometimes you're weary and you can't find your way. And there's been times in my life when I've just been weary. And I mean, I'm always encouraged by the Holy Spirit. God's with me. God will never forsake me. He will never leave me. No matter how low I feel, He is there, and He lifts me up and He holds me up. And He uses other people to do that as well, to lift up your weary hands. So it's a song that just says to an audience, don't give up. Hold on. You know the old saying, this too shall pass. Hold on, because you're not alone in whatever it is you're facing. He is with you, and He will not let go of your hand. So it's a very intimate song for me, and it's a song where I really thank God for all of those times in my life when He's held my hand.
God's on your side. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Don't quit. God's on your side. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Don't quit. We have an anchor that keeps us soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll. Fasten to the rock, which cannot
God's on Your Side by Belfast Community Gospel Choir from the album Strictly Gospel. What do you prefer, Mother Hen or Mama Lacey? Because that's what that choir calls you. And that, do you have a pastoral role in there? Yeah, I think you do that.
Mama Lacey is probably the one that's used all the time. And Linus, my husband, who is very involved with choir as well, he's Papa Lacey.
Aw.
So I never intended to be a mother figure, but I'm afraid that's what I've become. And I think it's because they get away with murder, and mothers let their kids get away with murder. And, you know, any other choir, well, Kerry, you've been in the choir and you know the talking that I have to endure, the noise.
That's right, you have to put up with quite a
Yes,
bit.
but
But
it's-
no, we all do listen in the
I
end.
know, but it's just, you all do that. Everybody talks and chats and laughs because they know I'm not going to get angry with them.
It's a bit of fun as well.
So I am
And
definitely Mama.
You are. She just is the person who just encapsulates you. That's a really good word, isn't it?
That's
The
great.
encapsulates you just with a big
And I
warm
give
hug.
the best hugs.
You do, totally.
And that's
totally.
why I won't lose weight. Because if you lose weight, you know, you can't give the best hugs when you're skinny.
No,
Come on.
definitely not.
The number of people who are scribbling that down right now to remember it.
Why aren't you losing weight? Because it'll affect my hugs.
Heard it in the podcast.
Yes.
You're listening to the Commission Files. We need to take a quick break.
Commission presents An Angel Told Me, a series of 4 programmes by Gloria Kearney.
Raquel, you look as though you have something on your mind. Are you all right, my dear?
Well, Michael, I'm not sure. It's hard to define it. It's as though someone has rung a bell, and everyone knows what it means except me.
Raguel finds out more about God's great plan for a small blue planet far away, a plan that will change that world. You can hear the series An Angel Told Me and others being added every month from the same place you found the Commission Files, or just search for Commission Drama wherever you get your podcasts.
We're back. Kerry and Will on the Commission Files, and we're chatting with Marie Lacey from BCGC Belfast Community Gospel Choir. You are very much a family person, and
Yes.
you've been married to the lovely Linus for nearly 50 years, and you have a son and you have grandchildren. Tell us a wee bit more about
Okay.
them.
Well, we just have one son, Jonathan, who's 38 now. And Jonathan lives in he'll laugh at me saying Jonathan because he's Johnny. He lives in Liverpool and he's married to Louise, and she's a Scouser, a Liverpudlian, and they have 2 little boys. So Alex is 7, and I love that he's called Alex because that was my dad's name. And then his younger brother is Jacob, who's 4. And they are a riot to have in the house. They've just been with us for a week in October, and although it's amazing, we are exhausted when they go home.
I can imagine.
We're just not young anymore, but they're just great kids. And Johnny runs a company in Liverpool. He's another joy giver. Mm-hmm. So he was raised in a home where it was very joyous, and he's carried that on. You can't fight the genes. So he's out there running his company and delivering joy all over the United Kingdom now. They're
fantastic.
everywhere. Yeah.
And you keep going to Liverpool a lot of times.
We're back and forward. I should have shares in EasyJet. Honestly, we're all...
Not only are you Mama Lacey, you're Dr. Lacey.
Oh, get in, honestly. Well, look, I'm only really just coming to terms with this. This prestigious honour was given to me in December last year, 23. And I've had imposter syndrome for quite a long time about it, because I'm like, I'm a doctor now. But what did I do to deserve it? And it's been friends and relatives who've been able to say, Marie, you've lived your life in service. You've impacted the community. You've impacted so many lives. This is why they're honouring you. And I'm like, but I've never sat in a lecture. Now, I've sat through some pretty boring sermons, I'll tell you that. But, you know, I feel like I should have done something, like should have invented something, but they're going, but you've invented joy, you've invented. So they've helped me come to terms. And of course, Queens want you to use your title. So I'm now Dr. Marie on my emails, but I still feel like, but I mean, I'm from the Newton Arts Road, for goodness sake. I never even passed my 11 plus. I didn't go to university and I'm a doctor.
We'll be having to bow before we go out of the room here.
But it is a lovely,
Listen,
lovely honour.
I told my big brother I will never call you doctor when he became one. And of course now I'm insanely proud of him. And I don't mind saying that because I know he doesn't listen to this.
Oh, this will be the one he listens to.
But
No, it is. I mean, I am so grateful.
And it means a great deal, doesn't it?
And obviously, to be given the doctorate, other people have spoken up for me, and that I find that really touching, that people nominated me and felt that I was worthy of this. So yes, it is lovely.
Such an honour.
Well, I'll take your pulse if you need me to check your pulse.
I don't think I can find
During
it.
the hug, I'll check your pulse. That would be you, Will. I'll check your blood pressure for you.
It's gone up.
Okay. Yes. So, this verse, Psalm 104, verse 33. I will sing to the Lord as long as I live. I will praise my God to the last breath.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
That's me. That's my life. I am a worshipper. First and foremost, you know, my life is about worshipping and being thankful. The Lord loves a thankful heart. I'm so thankful for my faith and my relationship with the Lord, and you will not silence me. And I'd like to think on my deathbed, you know that old hymn, my Jesus, I love thee, I know thou art mine. The final verse, when the death dew lies cold on my brow, if ever I love you, my Jesus, it's now. I'd like to think that on my deathbed, if I'm compos mentis, that my final words would be in worship to him and in thanks to him before I meet him face to face, you know. So I love that scripture.
And would you say that it's a scripture that's carried you right through your life? Would you, even from a young child, or?
Yeah, you know, I was talking to Linus about this the other day, actually. And I said to him, I don't remember a time in my life that I wasn't God conscious. Even as a little girl, I just wanted to know God. And I remember I was at a mission and my mum was singing and an appeal was given for salvation. And I was only 4 years old, but I wanted to go up. I wanted to go up and give my life to Jesus. And I still remember crying the whole way home because it was such an emotional thing for me. And all through my life, I have wanted to know God more. I've wanted to please him. I've wanted to serve him. And even in my teens, when a lot of teenagers lose their way a little bit, not me. I still was passionate about God. I was in the scripture union in school. I was in a gospel band when I was only 16. And I just always wanted to please the Lord because I just loved him so much. So I will sing to him as long as I live, you know.
Amen.
A couple of months ago, Kerry and I were delighted and humbled in this very studio to welcome Ben McMeekin of the International Justice Ministry under the Commission files. Now, we heard some harrowing stories, you know that, and some uplifting ones, but you've just done, not so long ago at all, a concert to support IJM, Sing for Freedom. Why did you want to be part of that, Marie?
Oh, well, I'm a supporter of IJM and I love an organisation that has a vision to bring slavery to an end, to see people set free. And we live in an awful world of people who are entrapped in call centres around the world. There are people enslaved. There are people in the sex industry. There are children working in factories. There's so much slavery going on. We talk about slavery in the past. There's probably more slavery in the 21st century than in any other time. So I think it's an amazing organisation and an honour to be able to support them with a concert and help them raise awareness as well as raise funds. And hopefully lots of people will have signed up to support them on a monthly basis.
It was one of the most remarkable episodes we've ever done, I think, because, and people have said since, and you can still listen to it and you can go back through the episodes and you can find it. I think there was a lot of stuff that people hadn't faced up to and didn't really realize, well, that couldn't happen here.
The ostrich syndrome, people, if I don't know what's happening or if I don't hear about it or don't see it, then I can be happy and not have to think about it. But we do have to think about these things and we do have to be involved in doing whatever we can to help, and supporting a charity like IJM is a great start to help.
You released your own album last year and it's very appropriately named Legacy. We've chosen a song from it and it's a classic, and here with this lovely introduction, enjoy Marie Lacey singing The Old Rugged Cross.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross
That's the Old Rugged Cross from the album Legacy by Marie Lacey, Dr. Marie Lacey. Why did you want to do this Legacy album? Did it just feel like time, Marie, or what was it?
Yes, I have always loved the old gospel songs from the 40s, 50s, 60s. Like I said earlier, that's the music I was brought up with. That's the legacy my mother left to me, these priceless gospel songs, which really a lot of people don't know of. There's a song on it, There'll Be Peace in the Valley, an old gospel song by Dorsey, and people just don't know these songs anymore. But I was very conscious of my grandchildren, and they're growing up in a world where they will never hear this kind of music. They'll never hear these. So I felt I need to leave a legacy as well. And I know I'm leaving a legacy of all my choir stuff and all that, but I want them to learn about their great-grandmother and what she sang, and I felt I want to honour my mum's memory as well. But what I was passionate about was giving all of them a new feel, a new sound, and I wanted to get that like 1940s kind of, big, not big band, but lots of strings and stuff, and really embrace the sound of that era. And I think we managed to do it. I love Arco String Quartet, and we work with them a lot. And so we actually recorded those beautiful strings you're listening to in my living room.
No.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Honestly, but
Brilliant.
We had an amazing engineer called Trey Shepherd, who lives up in Coleraine. He hails from Georgia in the USA. So he came and he recorded them in the living room. And then what he did when he got back to the studio was just amazing. Suddenly we had the Philharmonic Orchestra. It was a wonderful experience, but that's what I wanted that to be left to my grandchildren.
There must have been songs you would have loved to have
Oh my
put on it,
goodness.
but you had to just say, no, we can't do it.
Oh my goodness, so many. It was really hard to decide. There's one on it, how long has it been since you talked with the Lord? I remember that from a little girl, and thinking, oh, I haven't prayed today. Just wonderful, beautiful, rich songs. I could have probably sung 20 songs on it, but I chose the ones that I knew were really special to my mum, and I chose the Old Rugged Cross because, you know what? When I grew up, where I grew up, we had an old neighbour, and he used to get drunk every Friday night. And he would spend his wages and get drunk, and he would come down the street, and then he would stand in the street and sing the Old Rugged Cross. Honestly, and if you've ever heard a drunk man sing the Old Rugged Cross, it's not a delightful sound to listen to. But that was the song that he sang, and I thought that was in his spirit, even as this drunkard. Yeah. And I think this is a hymn that people know. It's like Amazing Grace. There are hymns that people know, even if they've never set foot in a church, they kind of know them. And the Old Rugged Cross is one of the richest old hymns that you could possibly sing. So it had to go on there. And then the string arrangement, obviously, is really special.
Sublime.
We only did it with strings. We
Would be
didn't
my
have
word.
any other instrument on that song.
Because I was researching this programme and I played that album and I played it in my home studio.
Oh.
So nice system, nice speakers. I was blown away. I really was by
well,
the sounds
that's
that you were
lovely.
getting and the idea you were getting. And I thought, well, we've got to have,
Yeah.
something.
Thank you
when
so
we chat.
much.
Not
Yeah,
at all.
I'm really, really pleased with it and proud of it. I mean, I have other solo albums that I recorded back in the 90s and the 80s, for goodness sakes. But this is the CD that's really special.
The 80s, same message, bigger shoulders.
It's a beautiful listen. So
Thank
anyone
you
out
so
there,
much.
Look up legacy.
Available online.
Yes.
I mean, you talked about a legacy to your grandchildren, but a legacy to your choir and the people who've been in the choir over the years as well, because this woman, to many of them, as you've pointed out, has explained this Jesus to us while we've been singing. There's something in that, surely.
Oh, yeah. And, during lockdown, I decided to do a little daily video on Facebook, because I thought this is my opportunity to tell my story for my choir, because the choir don't really know what I did when I was 16 and 17. And so I did this every day. I thought I'll do it for 50 days. So I did 50 of them. But when it came to the Sunday one, I'd put a hat on. Because I was brought up that you weren't allowed to go to church without a hat. And
couldn't go to a meeting without a hat.
So I had to find 50 hats. no, 50 days. So many hats was that. And so I would do that particular one with a hat on and talk about, when I was a young girl, if my dad caught me going out on a Sunday without a berry or something in my handbag, he wouldn't let me out. You had to wear a hat. And such was the tradition of the church, that I was brought up in. So that way the choir got to learn about another side of me, and they got to learn. I mean, my upbringing with my parents was it was really weird in a way. I mean, my mum and dad had a minibus that they'd had painted with scriptures and a neon sign on the top. And every Sunday we went out in that van, and it was like a road show. And my mum would sing, my dad would lead meetings. We had 2 girls who played tambourines, and they had little lights around the tambourines, so they'd turn off all the lights in the church. And my mum played the accordion, and they'd play their tambourines, and people were like mesmerised. It was like a road show. Wow. I would have been about 6 or 7, and I loved it. Because Sunday night you should be going to school, or you should be going to bed for school. But I wasn't. I was going in the minibus on the road show, and there were 2 loudspeakers on the top of the minibus. So when they would approach a town, they'd start playing music, and it was like the road shows here, the gospel road show. So that's what I mean about joy. I just had such a joy as
Did you do
childhood.
that throughout Belfast or
Throughout
beyond?
Northern Ireland.
Throughout the whole of Northern Ireland?
Yes.
In the early 60s.
In the early
Gosh.
60s, between, I'd say up until I was about 10 years old. And I'm a 68, so
wow,
it was amazing.
And
what
was
an
that
experience?
Was it
called-
affiliated with the
called-
church?
No.
No?
My dad and his friends just formed this team. They called it the Ever Ready Testimony Team. And he got that name from Ever Ready batteries.
I was going to make a battery joke.
So
There
it
we
was
go.
the Ever Ready Testimony Team. Got the minibus, got it painted. There was my mum was the singer, my dad was the leader, the tambourine girls were the show. And then there were like 2 or 3 guys who could tell their story of how they came to know Christ. And they would go to churches all around Northern Ireland and take their Sunday evening service. And it was hilarious. When I look back on it, it was hilarious.
It's almost 2025 now. And
Yes.
you have had an amazing journey so far. So what's next?
Well, we have performed in the Grand Opera House a couple of times, and that is a wonderful theatre to perform in, but very difficult to get a date because it's a theatre that prioritises touring shows. So if you can find the odd little date, you're very fortunate. And we had a date in mind, and it was Sunday the 8th of June. And we got a meeting with Grand Opera House and said, what are the chances that we could get that date? And that was the only date they had available. And the reason we got it was because on the Saturday night, it's not a show that's in the theatre, it's a comedian. So there's no set to pull down. And so that way we could get in on the Sunday morning, set up for our concert. So we're doing that's the 8th of June, and those tickets are actually on sale at the moment. It's because the Grand Opera House, as soon as you secure a date with them, tickets go on sale. So
I can't see them being there, too many
there's
left
quite a
for
few-
too long.
Yeah, quite a few of them have gone already. I think people are getting Christmas presents and
6
stuff.
months away, are you already?
Isn't it crazy? So I take January off and have a bit of a rest. And then when we get back together, February, it'll be working toward that. We do a lot of corporate events. In fact, we've just done one for Queen's University, and it was for a very prestigious VIP, and it was a dinner. So, you know, to get to do all these different things, concerts, corporate events, weddings, and what amazes me about the market, when I say the marketplace, I mean like, you know, a big business corporation who book us to be the after dinner performers. It's amazing that they want a gospel choir to come and perform. But they know that we deliver joy, and that the minute we hit the stage, joy's released into that auditorium or that hotel or wherever the event is happening. We're very popular in Titanic because we suit the staircase. They don't have to put staging in, we use the staircase. So it's bewildering in a way how successful the choir has become. I have always been open about my faith and always declared my love for the Lord, and I just think that blessings come from that, you know, and the choir is probably one of the greatest blessings that I've experienced.
Marie, Kerry and I have just loved having you with us here on the Commission Files. We could go on, but we don't have the time. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us and being such fun.
Oh, I have really loved it. It's been so comfortable and laid back, and like you say, just like we're having a coffee together.
Yes,
you mentioned
yes. Okay.
that.
It has just been a wonderful afternoon.
And I mean, I could speak for Ireland. I mean, if they have an Olympic discipline of speaking, I'm there, gold medal. I could talk forever.
We wouldn't have it any other way. So look, thank you so much indeed
Thank
for
you.
coming in to see us today. And we just want to wish you God's richest blessing
Thank
for
you so
2025.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We're going to finish in a very Christmassy way with the Belfast Community Gospel Choir, O Little Town of Bethlehem.
The run up to Christmas is busy with all the choir events, but Christmas itself, I am spoiled by going to Liverpool and having my son make Christmas dinner and having the grandchildren there, and I don't do anything. I might put some things in a dishwasher, I might, but that's it. The only thing...
Well, don't do too much.
I just love it. I love that family time, but I love the celebration of the Lord's birth. I just love the carols. I am not a Grinch. There's nothing about Christmas that I don't like other than, and it's been said a lot, the over-commercialisation of it. But it is an opportunity for people to give to charities as well and to be more generous than they might be at other times of the year. And good stuffing. Yes, Will, I love Christmas.
Thanks for listening to the Commission Files. There are pictures of this episode on the Commission Broadcast Centre Facebook page, on our Instagram page at Commission Broadcast. You can sign up to listen to all our episodes for the coming year. We're on just about all of the podcast platforms.
Commission's Christian drama is out, An Angel Told Me. It's a great listen. There are links on all of those sites. And it's available on our Commission Radio Drama podcast.
And from all of us here at Commission, have a Merry Christmas and a happy and a blessed New Year. Bye-bye.
Wishing you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from me. Bye.